Hi guys, this is Daniel, and we are going to play another game on chess.com. But this time, it's going to be a 10 plus 5 game. Alright, so I am black against middle gamer Umesh, someone I actually know on chess.com. Kind of a coincidence that, I put up the challenge and he accepted. He's 1871, so gracious for a higher rated player to, be willing to play me. He asked if the chat is on record. Should I lie to him? Y'all will not know if I lied to him. Alright, but let's focus on the game. Now, he's like a good friend on chess.com. He actually wanted to play me, but I just said I wanted to play someone else, and when I put the challenge up, he apparently accepted it. But we're going to focus on the game. He's probably going to chat me up, but y'all don't see the chat, so bishop to g4. So this is all standard stuff. Standard Scandinavian stuff. Pawn to h3. We'll just go ahead and take and play c6. We'll follow it up with e6, bishop d6, and good stuff like that. All right. So I posted a video earlier about blitz games I played, and those were pathetic. So I'm just kind of trying out longer time controls and going with that, and so far it's going pretty well. I mean, he obviously wants an opposite side castling. Let's think about this for a little bit, because I feel like I'm playing chicken if I go for the opposite, go for queenside castling myself. But if I just castle kingside, I'm kind of inviting an attack. But I do have an attack of my own, potentially. I mean, yeah, I think this will just be an opposite side castling game. We'll go with that. So, yeah, we're just going to go knight d7, probably queen to a5, pawn to b5. That's going to be our overall plan. Just advance from there. He plays pawn to g5. I'm not too worried about, or he played g4. I'm not too worried about pawn to g5 in itself. I would just play knight d5 or something. Yeah, I'm not going to play a move like h6 and just give him a hook. So, we'll just... Should I develop my knight? I mean... Probably going to have to do it at some point anyway. Let's look at knight bd7, g5, knight d5. Yeah, let's say he plays knight takes d5. I'll probably play e takes d5. And then, he'll play h4. I can play b5, h5. I mean, it's a race. It's a race. I mean, I think he's going to get there faster based off his pawns. But I can, lock him up. And in the meantime, for my own attack, I'm not too scared. I'll admit I'm a little bit scared, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I think on g5, knight d5, he has to take, because otherwise, I have ideas of both taking on c3 and messing his pawn structure, and just taking the bishop pair. Now, does he have any bishop takes h7 ideas? I would count that as premature at this point. But queen to h5, maybe. I'm not really afraid to play g6. I feel like my structure's, solid enough to, to allow for g6. I mean, if he goes h4, h5, I can just leave that there. If he plays h6, I'm not too worried. He doesn't really have the resources to get a checkmate on me. And if he takes on g6, I would just, take back with the pawn. So knight e4, that seems good, in theory. It probably is good. So knight takes e3 is obviously what I want to do. Knight e3, he can play queen e3. Because if f e3, I can take the pawn, although it might be a dangerous pawn. But I imagine he'll play queen to e3. I have ideas with pawn to e5. Let's just take the bishop pair off the board while we can. Kind of forgot that this was hanging, honestly. Honestly forgot about that. But saw it in time. Alright, so queen g5, knight d6, yeah. I suppose bishop e7, then h4, and it's kind of the same story from there. Like queen a5, king b1, b5, and just start charging my own attack. Does he have stuff with knight f6? I'd just take it. He can't do knight f6. Way too premature. Rook hg1 makes sense. Just trying to... I guess he's defending the pawn, and, like, you know, his rook could be useful. I would have rather put the other rook and, you know, keep the rook on the h-file, but... Now does queen to a5... Okay, no, it doesn't fork. It doesn't fork these guys because my queen was already attacking this, but... Queen to a5 might be good anyway. He has to play a move like king to b1, then I can just kind of get my attack kick-started. I could play c5 possibly. I'd even play b5. Yeah, c5. If he takes, I'll take with the knight. I mean, and like... I always have to watch out for knight f6 check. Yeah, queen a5, king b1, c5 takes, knight f6 check. Just looking at one example line, I could just take with the bishop if I need to, and when he takes, play g6. But then, does he have... Can he get, like, queen to f4 and queen to h6 then, possibly? Maybe. Yeah, we do gotta be careful about that. Wonder if I should try to trade off this knight. Is f5 too premature? Probably. Maybe not. f5. It's kind of admitting that I'm scared of his attack, but if it's solid, then I'll go for it. Let's see. If he moves his knight really anywhere, I'm happy. If he takes on passant, I'll play knight takes. Then he'd play knight takes. I could play rook takes. I mean, unless he has some funky bishop takes h7 business, or rook takes g7. He wouldn't have rook takes g7. With my knight on f6 and the f7 square open. Am I missing anything? I feel like this is a bad move, but I also feel like it's a pretty good move. Interesting defensive resource. Maybe it'll backfire. We will learn from these games. Alright. He takes on passant. I feel like knight takes should be the move. Knight f6, bishop f6. I mean, he does have an attack, but his queen can't go to h5. I suppose, you know, can't do... I feel like I'm just... Obviously not an ideal position. I now have an isolated e-pawn, and he still has an attack going. Okay, he took immediately, which... Hope he doesn't have anything, like, good planned. Okay, I see. He can play this and fork my two guys. Yeah. Alright. See what to do here. Yeah, this could actually get very ugly very fast. Very ugly very fast. That's gonna be the title of the video. Well, let's analyze all the variations. We're not gonna admit we're lost yet, because if g6, he might have rook g6. And if takes, queen takes, bishop g7, queen h7, king f7. Rook to f8. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm escaping. He also has bishop g6 in some lines, but I think I'm escaping that. But even then, g6 is kind of a move we don't want to play. It's not the end of the world, assuming he doesn't have an immediate win. I'd just assume he'd play this, in which, fine, I'll play king to g7 or something. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, queen to e6. So I'm assuming g7 just to add some more defense to g6. Is there something I'm missing? So we're down a pawn. I think my defense has stabilized a little bit. But, yeah, we're down a pawn. Interesting. I wouldn't say it's a weakness, but, you know, it could be in the future. Maybe I'm just... okay. So I'm thinking queen e7 is the obvious move I want to play. It is opposite color bishops, so something good to keep in mind. If he doesn't take the queen, I have queen takes e3 check. Can pre-move those captures, assuming he does them. Pawn to e4, that's good for him. So I'm thinking rook to f6, but he might play pawn to e5, and I'm not sure about that. I think he's getting a good formation if he plays pawn to e5, because his light square bishop would cover the light squares, and his pawns would cover the dark squares. It wouldn't be the end of the world, per se. Do I have... no, rook d4, c3. Maybe I have something with c5, he gets d5. c5, d5 is interesting, just allowing that. Okay. We're running out of time, so gotta think about something relatively soon. Bishop g5 is interesting if I just want to play it. Because if rook takes... no, never mind. The rook's not even hanging. I'm stupid. Okay, so... rook f6, e5. Takes. There, takes. I mean... my pawns do a good job, like, controlling these squares in certain endgames where the bishop could penetrate. Let's just simplify. I mean, it's opposite color bishops, so... you know, the drawing chances are on our side. You know, still gotta play accurately, but I've had success holding pawn down in games because it was opposite color bishops. Okay. So, yeah. Alright. So, c5 is interesting. Does that get me a fortress type position? Because I can just crawl my king in and he can't do anything about it. He could play c3, I suppose. Yeah. He does have c3, but, you know, we'll go for it. I mean, if he plays c3, I'll just activate my king. I could also put my bishop on f6, I suppose. But if I put my bishop on f6, it takes the pawn. So... let's just kind of stand by. I'll be needing to put my pawns on dark squares. You can't really put them on light squares because the bishop would attack them. So, yeah. I remember at a state scholastic tournament analyzing a game with someone because, you know, I'll have to tell you that story later. Gotta concentrate. If his pawn weren't there, then this might be, like, good for him. Okay, he has bishop c4, which is also good for him. Is king f5 the best move? I mean, it's interesting. Alright, this is actually interesting. Potentially. Okay, I'm thinking bishop g5, king f3, bishop to c1. If he plays b3, I have bishop b2. This is actually interesting. Good noting he doesn't have d5 because I just take the pawn. Okay, so here, I'm thinking. Not afraid of him taking because, well, I could take on e5 or I could take on b2. Sorry for the big slurp, by the way. I will try to break that habit, especially on camera. Talking to you, Dad. Especially you. He's thinking, which is a good psychological sign in my opinion. I do need to move quicker and build some time. I think I'm doing good, meaning I should be drawing here with best play. Okay, so with best play that would be. Yeah, I honestly didn't expect b5. Takes there. I feel like what's the best way to, like, be safe? I don't even know if I'm safe anymore, because he's going to have two connected passed pawns. There, b5. Okay. There. D6. Gotta do something. This still might be holdable. Because if he plays d5, he loses a pawn. If he plays pawn to e6, then, like, okay, what to do now? Let's just move around. Let's just make some moves and gain some time. Alright. He does have that. Okay. That's honestly disturbing. Alright. I'm just going to play this and play pawn to b5 so that he doesn't have c4 available. If that makes a difference, which it may not. Alright, we're going to put our king on a dark square. He might just play b5 himself. Okay, but he's getting this anyway. Yeah, that's good technique by him. Yeah, these opposite color bishop endgames are never drawn. Never guaranteed drawn. Okay. b5 is a good move. Gotta try something. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna e6 check in. I think it's lost here. I'm just gonna hope for stalemate from here, but okay. least I'm one move away from locking everything for a stalemate, but nope. Yeah, and then when they queen, it's going to be checkmate. Yep. Good game, sir. Well, that was interesting. He says GG in the chat. We will reply with a GG. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't an ideal game, but I definitely feel like, unlike the Blitz games I played earlier, I definitely don't blame it because of lag. I just think it was just the game itself. I mean, he queenside cast, opposite side castling the Scandinavian. I think it's going to be White's best attempt for a win, which I certainly think is good. So, yeah, so pawn to g4, knight to d5. I mean, he got a good attack. I honestly think I defended well. I mean, I had to give up a pawn, but you know, I had to calculate, make sure rook takes g6. Wasn't bad. And then, I mean, yeah, I'm sure I could have played better elsewhere, but maybe, like, I don't know, once he gets the pawns, he had it configured perfectly, where his center pawns are on dark squares, so his bishop can control the light squares. So that's a great configuration, and he just, so maybe, like, here, maybe c5 was premature, now that I think of it. You kind of have the power of hindsight, but now that I look at it, because, okay, maybe, like, c4 is going to come at some point, though to stop that, I could play b5. I don't know, because b5 puts all the pawns on light squares. I don't know. I'll have to look back at it and see where I could have made a better move, but I think ultimately then also b4 was nice. So maybe, I don't know, maybe takes, bishop here. He would have to move his pawn. Then it seems like the same position, actually. He asked if it's going on YouTube. Of course, smiley face. I'm not going to leave my losses out of YouTube. Well, I mean, he played well. He's, like, good in all phases of the game. You know, I know him. I've known him for a few years now, because we both have blogs, and, like, he's a couple years younger than me, but, like, he clearly has a rating edge over me. I think he is probably about 1900 strength, you know? So, yeah, just, he's good in all phases of the game. You know, his name is Middle Gamer Umesh, but, he's clearly good in all phases. He's a pretty good in-game player. He just says he can't wait to watch it. Just sending him a quick message, telling him I have to end the vid. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching. Again, not an ideal result, but I think it's important to post everything that you experience, not just the glorious wins, which I hope will come soon. So, yeah, just leave a comment, like, subscribe, and also if you just have any general, you know, feedback on my game, feel free to post it. You know, I'm always willing to read it, as always. Until next time, I will see you guys soon. Thank you.